Hello and welcome. Thank you so very much for taking advantage of this free mini course entitled Three Tips to End Chronic Dieting and Enjoy Food Freedom. I'm excited to be able to share these tips with you so that by the end of today's program, you'll begin to start thinking a little bit differently about your food choices and your relationship to food. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I'd like to take a moment to just introduce myself. My name is Kim Jakes. I'm an intuitive eating coach. I absolutely adore food. It's one of my favorite activities is to eat and explore food. I am an Aries, which means I also identify being a little bit of a rebel and having a fiery nature. I'm the mom of a wonderful adult son and the wife of my college sweetheart. Little fun fact about me is I consider myself an abundant minimalist. And in fact, everything that my husband and I own in 2020, we downsized to what fit into our Toyota wagon, and we're ready to begin our travels. Well, we all know what happened in 2020, so our travels got thwarted a little bit, but we have maintained our abundant minimalist lifestyle as we live in an apartment on the coast of North Carolina. I've been a wellness professional since 1999 and absolutely have always been fascinated by the miraculous nature of the human body and its ability to heal itself. So, today, what we're going to be talking about are some important topics, including what exactly is a diet. So many times you'll hear people say, "Well, it's time to ditch the diet," but it's important to actually ask, what is a diet before we actually ditch it? We're going to talk about why diets don't work so that you can feel really validated in the fact that if diets have not worked long term for you, it's not just you. In fact, 97% of the time, diets don't work long term, so you're not alone. We're also going to talk about how to discover a beautiful relationship with food. I am going to give you some sneak peeks into an upcoming 14-day group coaching program that I have launching in the near future. And I will have a bonus giveaway at the end as well. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I would like to introduce a testimonial from Suzanne, who recently attended one of my 14-day Making Peace with Your Plate program, in which we go through a process of really experiencing what it is like to become an intuitive eater, a person who really is able to listen to their body cues of hunger, of satisfaction, of fullness, and begin to the process of being able to feel like you're able to live in a place of food freedom versus having to think about and obsess about food choices chronically. Well, Suzanne said through participating in this program, I brought greater awareness to my eating habits, and it resulted in less binge eating and less emotionally driven eating as well. Now, I have a family history and a personal history of emotional eating. And so I was thrilled to see Suzanne have this result that I have also experienced through the process of becoming an intuitive eater as well. So, to begin with, why diets don't work and how to choose the best strategy for you that is not a diet. So, to begin with, a diet, in our definition, is a food plan that has the goal of shrinking your body. Okay. And it includes things like food restriction, food control, the use of counting, and it asks you to override your body cues, such as not eating when you are hungry. Okay. So these, or even eating things that you are not enjoying. Okay. So that is what we're going to consider a diet. So if you say to yourself, well, I am doing this program and it says it's not a diet, ask yourself, is it asking you to restrict your food, control your food, count your food, or not listen to your body cues? And if so, if it's saying that it's not a diet, but it's doing these things, it's still a diet. Okay. So that's what we're going into this definition with. Now, why diets don't work? I want to talk about two primary reasons why diets don't work. There's a lot more, but I do want to just give you enough information so that you can feel empowered and understanding the why behind the diets not working. So, number one, diets by their nature ignore some very important natural mind body responses. So, a mind response, as an example, might be when we are feeling deprived of something. It has been psychologically proven that when somebody is feeling like something is being deprived, they obsess over acquiring it. Okay, so it's being taken away from me. I want it even more. You probably have experienced this at some point in your life if you've ever said to yourself, I'm not going to eat ice cream anymore. Okay, and suddenly every time you drive by an ice cream shop, it almost feels like it's a pull, a draw, almost like you're ready to jump out the car and run to the ice cream parlor. It takes everything in you to just keep driving by it. Okay. Where otherwise, if you weren't, if it wasn't a food rule that you were trying to follow and you were feeling deprived, you might be able to drive by it and say, oh, I don't really feel like going today. I might go a different day. Another example of very natural mind responses to the depriving nature of the diet are things like the Last Supper prep and cheat days. Okay. If we're going to be deprived of something tomorrow, gosh, I'm going to eat a lot of it today. And I'll go so far as to say we binge the night before a diet on what you won't be able to have later. Is that familiar at all to you? Also, cheat days are the same philosophy, but those are days that are built into the middle of the diet to give you a little relief from having to deprive yourself. Now, a physiological response to being deprived is that our metabolism actually slows down, right? And so these are three reasons why diets don't work based on their ignoring natural mind body responses. Now, I'm going to very specifically also talk about why diets don't work based on the fact that many times what we're looking for when we diet is self love. We're looking to find self acceptance, confidence, self love through the process of becoming thinner. And because it's a process of seeking self love, and love is a deep, deep need that we have as a human being, sometimes we become a little irrational in that process. And the things that we fall into are things like success fail thinking. When we step on the scale in the morning, either we love ourselves because the scale went down, or we might dislike ourselves or be judgmental of ourselves if the numbers on the scale have increased. Okay, so there's that success fail thinking. Also, it leads to yo yo dieting, otherwise known as diet cycling. And because it's an irrational need that we want to fulfill now, we tend to look at quick win strategies versus long term sustainable strategies. And all of these things together many times lead to eating disorders or at least disordered eating. So, for all of these reasons and more, these are some of the background reasons why diets don't work. And in fact, long term fail typically 97% of the time. So, I hope with at least that little bit of information, we might be able to say, okay, I get it. My instincts of wanting to step away from diets are validated. And so now, what comes next? What can I do besides dieting? Well, when Shirley joined my 14-day group coaching program called Making Peace with Your Plate, she was asking herself the same thing. And at the end of the program, she gave this beautiful testimonial saying, I now feel confident that I can meet my emotional needs without overindulging. This is truly a life changing program, which I would 100% recommend to anyone wanting to recalibrate their relation with food and their body. You see, remember, it's dieting is not just about the body, it's also about the mind and the emotions. And that is built into the programs that I run. So, three strategies to end yo yo dieting and discover how to love your relationship with food. First up, I encourage you to plan to eat for enjoyment. You'll hear me say it multiple times. Pleasure is an essential nutrient. Okay. If we are eating for pleasure and enjoyment, then we are going to be fully satisfied, not just on the physical level of the biological hunger, but also from a level of comfort, from a level of reward, from a level of being able to just have all of our senses stimulated. These are all things that are very important to consider. So, a couple of tips to make sure that you can plan to eat for enjoyment. Number one, clean the countertops so that you feel comfortable going ahead and cooking. And stock your pantry and fridge with whole foods and flavor bursting condiments and sides to make every meal thrilling. Some of my favorite things, I love to have olives in my refrigerator. I absolutely love to have pickled peppers. I love all things pickled, sauerkraut, things like that, things that are just easy to throw on a plate that bring a burst of flavor and satisfaction. So, what I love to do is to help individuals go through and itemize what thrills them and really prioritizing having those things on hand regularly so that each experience is just so much fun. Also, it really makes it simple to whip up a quick, satisfying dinner when you know you've got all these tasty foods on hand. So one is less likely to spend the time going out to eat when you have everything that you need right at home. Okay. Not that I don't love going out to eat. I do. But when I am staying home to eat, love knowing that my experiences at home are as good, if not better, than going to a restaurant. The next tip is to reject the quick win diet mentality. The less you focus on deadlines, the more you can focus on making long term changes. And ultimately, that is very important because that diet cycling or yo yo cycling is actually um, a, a an unhealthy experience. It is unhealthy to go up and down in your weight over and over again. And so, stopping and thinking and making a strategy that you know that you love and your body loves and that you can do for the long term. And heck, you might even crave doing it because you enjoy it so much. That's going to create the health that you're ultimately striving for. So, long term strategies are ones that both you and your body enjoy. And we talk about through the program what that really means. We also talk about relearning how to listen to your body and how that takes time, being able to be with a plate of food and hearing what your body feels about it, being able to feel when you're actually achieving a sense of fullness and satisfaction versus mindlessly eating and bulldozing through your fullness factor, eating more than your body actually wants. Now, this process is really a journey of self discovery and it's also a journey of self love. And the third tip is to really develop a healthy relationship with food. Okay. And what this means includes ideas such as eating mindfully. Instead of sitting down with your meal and your cell phone, sitting down just with your meal, looking at the beautiful food, looking at the colors, smelling it. These are all things that help cue your body that you're ready to eat, cue your digestive juices, and really allow for your body to be fully present with the fact that you are now nourishing it. Replacement versus restriction. Do you remember back to the idea that we spoke about before that if you're feeling like you're being deprived, you're going to potentially obsessively think about what you're not allowed to have. And so I really encourage people to find amazing replacements versus restricting, as an example. I absolutely adore a chocolate chia seed pudding with coconut whipped cream, walnuts, and berries sprinkled with a little bit of coconut. I crave it. I adore it. I love it. So it's my replacement for what I may have craved in the past, which might be like a chocolate mousse, right? So it's a healthier variation of something that thrills me just as much. Except this chocolate chia seed pudding is so rich with healthy fats and hormone balancing nutrients that it's far superior of a choice. So both I love it and my body loves it. Going back to the idea of pleasure is an essential nutrient. Eat when you are physically hungry and eat to satisfaction. So it's important to not eat by counting calories, but eating until you are satisfied. Okay, going back to that idea of being depriving and both the biological and the mental ramifications of that. Don't eat the guilt. This goes to an idea that it's really important to just allow yourself to be free to eat anything that you might want to eat without the guilt. If you're going to eat a food that your body does not really enjoy, you're best to just eat that food and not eat the guilt with it. Eating the guilt tends to create a little bit of a slippery slope where one then might say, oh, to heck with it. I already ate one piece and now I feel guilty and I need comfort. I might as well eat another piece too. Okay. So it creates a little bit of a slippery slope. And then don't eat to move the scale. Eat to nourish your body, to love your body, to satisfy your body. The instant we're eating to move the scale, it becomes a little bit of a psychological success and failure path that can lead to self judgment, needing to lead to comfort foods, and just not good for your overall self esteem. So, these are three tips that are key to be able to help you being able to end chronic dieting and enjoy a beautiful relationship with food. Now, here is a testimonial of somebody who went through recently through my 14-day Making Peace with Your Plate program, which encompasses all of these concepts and more. We spend 14 days diving into beautiful experiences and thought shifts that allow for individuals to really walk away with deep transformation. So, through this program, I was gently guided to see my blind spots about diet culture and how it still affected my eating habits and food choices, and how this mentally showed up in my life with more food rules that were still keeping me stuck and obsessed with food. Oh my gosh, so beautiful to watch her go through her journey. So, if this is resonating with you, if you have a desire to be able to truly discover what exists beyond dieting and to begin a journey of truly enjoying food and leaving diets behind, then I encourage you to do one of two things. Number one, you will be seeing emails within the next month about my 14-day Making Peace with Your Plate program. It will be you'll receive emails about them that will give you all of the details for the upcoming event. So keep your eyes open for that. And if you would like to also discover what working one on one might look like, or what my other group programs or courses might be, then please feel free to book a free discovery call. You can go to kimjakes.com/let's chat LET'(CHAT) in order to be able to schedule a time to chat. I would be thrilled to talk about where you are currently in your desire to be able to look and feel your best, what obstacles or opportunities there are for you, and to connect you with which one of the courses, coaching, or programs I have available that might be your best next step. Thank you so much for enjoying this program, and I look forward to seeing you soon.